So this is directed by Mel Gibson, which is funny because in the ads that I saw initially for this, it was like, from the director of Braveheart, whoever that may be. I just stopped for a second and be like, that is straight up Mel Gibson. Apparently they can't say his name in Hollywood still, but Mel Gibson has directed a new movie for us, so we're gonna find out if the world has been missing him for the past few years, or if, hey, no big loss. We'll see. Hacksaw Ridge. So Hacksaw Ridge is the story of a man named Desmond Doss. Did you know who that was? I didn't until this movie. Probably should. It's a pretty incredible story. World War II is escalating. People are joining up just out of patriotism and pride, and they want to do what's best. They want to fight for what they believe in. They want to fight for freedom. America. Desmond Doss, played by Andrew Garfield, joins the army in hopes of being a field medic. One thing though, he doesn't kill people. He will not kill people. He will not even handle a gun, which seems like quite a conundrum. Really, it's funny because Mel Gibson movies are known for being in-your-face violent in very relevant ways. If the movie does take place in wartime, or Jim Caviezel's getting his ass kicked for an hour and a half, point is, Mel Gibson's good at directing violence. And this is a war movie where someone doesn't kill anybody. It's either gonna be the greatest pairing ever, or it's gonna be a big mistake. We're never gonna hear from Mel Gibson again. But talking about what I liked in Hacksaw Ridge, first of all, everybody in the movie did a fine job. Andrew Garfield was great. He's the optimist. He's one of those people where he's so good at being optimistic. You just see his infectious smile. You want this dude to succeed because you can tell he's just such a sweet guy. He obviously has seen enough in his life to be like, no, I saw some stuff in my youth. I don't need guns or violence. I don't like any of it. I don't want to do it. I want to help save lives in a time in a war where lives are straight up being taken. Hugo Weaving plays his dad. We're used to seeing Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith, Elrond, the voice of V for Vendetta. It's not all he's played in his life, but when I think Hugo Weaving, that's what I think of. And it was great to see him play this just alcoholic, abusive dick. I just like it when actors are like, hey, here's a side of me you're not used to. Yeah. Boom, there you go. I'm doing well in that. Speaking of doing well in that, I have to give all the props to Vince Vaughn. One of my main gripes I always have about Vince Vaughn anytime I see him in a movie is the fact that he always plays the same character. Vince Vaughn in Wedding Crashers is the same Vince Vaughn in Dodgeball, who is the same Vince Vaughn in everything. We're talking everything. He's always Vince Vaughn. In fact, I'm never really sure he knows he's being filmed. This one he plays the drill sergeant. This dude is hard. He does not understand why this guy just won't pick up a weapon. He gives him shit. And in time of war, you almost understand where he's coming from. It's like, can you rely on this pacifist to save your ass out there on the battlefield? Point is, I love that Vince Vaughn took on this role. I love the fact that he was cast in this movie. It reminded me of David Schwimmer in Band of Brothers, where you're like, you're Ross. Holy shit, you're not always Ross. That was good job. Actors should do more of this. Don't always play the same thing. Good call on doing it, Vince Vaughn. You did well. But really, this movie is two movies in one. The first half of this movie, it's great seeing Andrew Garfield stand by his beliefs, the really strict beliefs for sure, to an insane degree where at a point I'd be like, yeah, I would just pick up the rifle, show them I can use it, and then be on my way. But even he wouldn't do that. But it's great to see our character, our wonderfully lovable hero, just stand by what he believes in when the entire world is going against him. Or at least his entire platoon. Then the second half is when we get to Hacksaw Ridge. You're like, oh yeah, this is a Mel Gibson movie. Holy God, it's going down. It was great because the way it happens, it hits you like a truck, which is effective. Because up until now in this movie, you've heard about war, they've heard about war, but you haven't seen it yet in this movie, and then it hits you. You're like, oh yeah, that's right, this is a Mel Gibson war movie. It was shocking, it's supposed to be shocking, it was effectively shocking. And I love how while Andrew Garfield's character, this guy, was a very religious person, and that religion was the main reason he did not pick up a gun and kill anybody in this time of war, you don't need to be a religious person to appreciate the movie. It addresses it as a strong perspective for him, but you don't need to be religious to appreciate the spirit of the film. You see, Hacksaw Ridge is a movie about optimism and the human spirit conquering all. It's like the most powerful thing you can have. And let's face it, it's 2016. By 2016, I mean the most venomous, shittiest, divisive year I have seen yet. Just as a human being, it's social media wise, it's gross everywhere. And in that, this movie coming out this year, it's great to see someone who is just a nice guy who wants to save lives, just doesn't want to take other lives. If I had a gripe about Hacksaw Ridge, I would say at a point in the movie, they're like, all right, we gotta do this thing. And then they do the thing, and it's straight up just kind of, you feel like it montages through it, and then the movie ends and it's done. This movie's about 2 hours, 15 minutes long. You feel like it was filmed to be 3 hours long, and they just cut it back, so like, yeah, 2 hours, 15 minutes is, that's fine. That's good enough. All right, I guess so. It just feels like the last part of the movie, the last act of the movie was just montaged through. And that is a bummer. It just doesn't change the fact that Hacksaw Ridge had me. Because it had great performances. It has great heart. You could tell people in the theater at a point were pride crying, you know? It's like people being proud. and they're crying for someone because they're proud. And it sounds like in through nose, out through nose. That's what it sounds like. That's pride crying. It's one of the uplifting stories of 2016 that I've seen personally, and I will say Hacksaw Ridge is awesome-tacular. It's safe to say that that dude's going for his big boss title, like his achievement. For those of you who don't know, generally speaking in Metal Gear Solid games, you beat the game in under 3 hours. You don't kill anybody, you get the title Big Boss. Under 3 hours, doesn't kill anybody, Big Boss, just saying. Alright guys, so Hacksaw Ridge, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Or what's your favorite war movie of all time? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.